So we first came for my husband, and he has some shoulder issues and some digestion issues and that kind of thing. So we came in for him. And then in all of his stuff, we realized that you guys specialize in helping those with autoimmune disorders. I'd had a long history of being treated by some different chiropractic offices and doctors who didn't quite know what to do with my disease. And whenever we got to know Dr. Moss and Dr. Moore and talked to them about all of that, we realized that this was a place that I could help too. Probably the biggest one, honestly, is just having a place where the doctors take you seriously and where no issue is a small issue, and being able to just have a safe place to always come for that, has been a life changer for me after multiple doctors dismissing me over time and all that fun stuff. But pain management and also just disease management, night and day different. I'm only 24, so it's like, so being in chronic pain basically your whole life, it's kind of not super fun. But being able to go from like super high pain levels every day to it being manageable and feeling like you get a little bit of your life back, it's a big difference. When it's not managed, it honestly just feels like you don't have a lot of control over your life. It kind of feels like no matter what you want to do, that your body always kind of has a different plan. It's also hard because it's something that not a lot of people can relate to. So to go from that to being in kind of a managed pain state and being able to do the things that you love and not feel as held back from your life, it makes a huge difference. So we actually live on a ranch. So feeling like I can actually help out and contribute a lot more, has made a huge difference just for me and the family. I'm also a personal trainer for a living. And so just going from having an effective program and being an effective coach, but now also just having a better quality of life, I feel like I can offer better service to my clients and reach more of my goals as well. So when I'm in pain, I really have to alter most activities. Even things like bending over is difficult, or sleeping through the night is not always common. Even to cooking, I feel like I have to cook sitting down a lot of the time. Or again, I'm young, so being able to or I would have to like cancel plans or change plans or that kind of thing just based off of pain levels and activities. So it felt like basically everything was affected. I was discharged from multiple offices when they figured out that I had ankylosing spondylitis, just because people don't often know what to do with that. And so it felt like I would go for help from the people that I felt like were supposed to be able to give help, and then often be told that either they didn't know what to do or there were no answers, or a lot of the time it would actually make things worse. And so I'd leave in more pain than I came in. So to come here and that not be the case was huge. So before we came in here, I was working 3 jobs, trying to afford to be able to travel from Oklahoma to Arkansas for doctor's appointments at least once a week. I was on immunosuppressants, spending thousands of dollars per treatment every month. Families were having to help us out financially. A lot, thousands of dollars. It's different. I feel like every cent that we're paying is actually making a difference, rather than just kind of like depositing a little hope pocket in a piggy bank, So whenever he came home and he was not in as much pain, and then whenever I came home and I was actually able to, I remember I went to coach a session and I was deadlifting, and it was the first time that I'd ever been able to like actually hit a certain goal that I hadn't been able to hit in 3 years. That's when it was like, okay, it's worth it at this point. I started getting sick when I was 13. So I'm 24 now, so it's been over 10 years. I got really sick in college, so I haven't quite been like able to fully function for about 6 years now, until the last 2 years. Short version is we actually ended up having a miscarriage, and we had a cancer scare about 2 years ago. It was January of last year. And that's when I kind of just decided that enough was enough. And I'd done research on kind of the functional side of things and had tried some things over the years, but I had to be pulled off of all of my medications for the cancer and the things that I was under treatment for. And so at that point, I wasn't on anything. I was kind of at a lowest of lows. I really didn't have a lot of functionality. And so it's just kind of like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to try, and I've got nothing to lose at this point. And so we started kind of trying to make the lifestyle changes over the course of that year. And then whenever my health was enough where it was manageable, then we came here for more specific treatment to get just a lot more help repairing the gut and all of that fun stuff from all the treatments that I'd been on. Started about 2 years ago, kind of just hit rock bottom a little bit. And then in the last 6 months, we started coming here, and that's when we saw a huge difference. But before we came here, before we started kind of the holistic functional route, I really wasn't able to eat more than like a meal a day, and it was like crackers at best. Nauseous all the time. My husband's got some digestion issues as well. So just to go from like feeling like I was lucky to eat anything and be able to keep it down and just kind of function normally to feeling energized and feeling like I've got kind of my life back and able to enjoy food again. It's been a lot of fun. So I'm excited for what's coming. For my husband, I know a lot of his stuff is inflammation based. And so the cold laser therapy and what I've learned from that and just kind of re-regulating the nervous system, he saw relief right away from his indigestion. The chiropractic therapy for me with keeping my spine in place, I mean, structure really does dictate function. And when your spine's out of place, it really does mess just everything up. So I can tell a huge difference after a couple of days when I'm ready for another adjustment. And then the neuromuscular therapy, I mean, Jared's a genius. And so just need it, like, especially anytime there's a structure issue and your body just kind of tightens up to protect it, it just sometimes a little extra TLC in those areas can make you feel like a new person. Because up until my husband was treated, I was kind of hesitant to see anybody else about my AS and autoimmunity. And so whenever that conversation sparked, it was really kind of the first time that I felt like a medical professional saw what I was going through, understood, and kind of helped me see the big picture. And so just kind of diving into the different facets of treating autoimmunity and realizing that we could actually put together a system that would work, that's when I kind of realized that these were medical professionals that I could trust and the place that I had a place to go to when I needed help.
And so I was having a lot of gastrointestinal issues and then also just some shoulder issues and whatnot. And so we decided that we would give it a try, and we came here, and that's kind of how we got here. And by me doing it, then we got Brenna into it, and she started doing it as well. So a lot of where my life was headed, like I was having a lot of, like I said, GI issues, whether it be heartburn or whatever, and it was crippling some days to where it was so painful. Like there was a few times I was genuinely wondering, man, am I having a heart attack with how much it hurt, the heartburn. And my shoulders just kept on getting worse and worse. And my family was saying like, hey, you need to get the GI stuff figured out. You need to get it figured out. And we're sitting here like, well, we don't want to go to a normal doctor because we don't want to pay to get a scope and be given some pills that may or may not actually help. And so that's kind of where we were at beforehand. And getting here, since we started on the protocol, started on just everything they've had us going through, my shoulder issues are pretty much non-existent. There's a lot of freedom of movement, freedom of pain that's come with it. And then in terms of my GI, I've had maybe one single flare-up of heartburn in the past 4 or 5 months, which is amazing for me given that I was having it maybe once or twice, 3 times a week some days. So it was really life-changing and eye-opening just to go from that amount of pain to not being in it now. I'm a basketball coach in high school nearby, and like she said, whenever that high stress kind of would come up, and also eating less than ideal because it's a coach's life, you're not getting what you need. It did lead to a lot of heartburn and whatnot. And just in the summer months, while I know it's a little less stress, there is still stuff going on. It's been a whole lot more manageable, a lot more enjoyable to be doing. I would say about a month and a half in, I don't remember the exact day, but I just remember waking up and being like, man, I haven't had heartburn in a long time. And going through a normal workout and whatnot that I would do, and like my shoulders weren't just screaming in pain from doing a shoulder press. Like I could actually go through a range of movement. It's like, this is working. And a lot of that was before we started the nutrition protocol side of things too, for the GI stuff. So just having the little changes we made along the way makes so much of a big difference. It gets me excited also for the next step as we've started the nutrition protocol that we're on today, actually. And so I'm excited to see what's coming next, because if I've seen this much growth and this much change just with the laser treatment and the adjustments, what else could change? Brenna has ankylosing spondylosis. I think I said it right. I may not have. Spondylitis. But it caused her to be in a lot of pain, and we were really worried for a long time just about like her hip bones fusing and whatnot. And the very first adjustment she had, I remember getting in the car and she said, I can breathe, which was a huge thing for her because there's so many times she's been trying to breathe and it's just been too painful. And so getting to see the excitement in her eyes potentially be pain-free in a lot of ways, where for many years in most of our marriage and dating life where she was in a lot of pain, it's been exciting to me, and really it's a huge blessing just to get to see how she's healing and how she is getting that pain level down. And the pain, it was gut-wrenching because because it's this person I love so much that I can't do anything for. I remember seeing a lot of times where she would just be having bad pain days where there's nothing we can do necessarily. Like maybe getting in a hot tub or hot shower or bath or whatever would help mitigate the pain a little bit. But more than anything else, it was just seeing her in pain, and it was gut wrenching. Because like she said earlier, there's nothing I can do to help her, and I want to more than anything else. And so that's why I've been so grateful that this is helping her. It's one of the best decisions I think we've made ever. She is able to go back to lifting the way she wants to lift with her job as a personal trainer and coach. It was hard for her for quite a while because she wanted to do so much more than she was doing, but the pain level wouldn't allow her to. And we've went and we've gone and we've worked out, and she's been able to do the weights she used to could do before all of this started. And so that's been encouraging. And also just, it's been encouraging to seeing her be able to breathe easily and not be in pain whenever she takes deep breaths.
I think it's also just taken the stress and the bummer out of a lot of it, because we're really active people. I mean, living on a ranch, both being coaches, like activity is what we love. We have 2 massive dogs, like we're hikers and kayakers, and we do all the things. But most of our dating and marriage life, I was really, really sick. And so I feel like we're kind of, not to sound sappy, but we're kind of getting to date again in a way where it's like, I feel like I can finally kind of do the things that I love without it being so painful. So it's been really fun just to kind of do it all over again and have a blast and feel like we're finally kind of living a little bit more like we want to.
Mm-hmm.